Hey, friends, happy Friday. Oh, we're going to be on the cusp of another really great weekend. It looks like the temperatures are going to be up there and it's going to feel like summer, and I'm just loving it. So I wanted to dive right in and talk a little bit about the open house I did yesterday. It was Juneteenth. Hope you all had a great holiday. There was tons of stuff going on in the city, parades, everyone was at the beach or barbecuing on the lakefront. I was in a suit and tie. I had more showings yesterday than I had pretty much in the last 2 weeks in total. Very strange, but as the rule of thumb goes, most buyers are looking for properties when they're not working. So it kind of made sense that most people who had the day off were like, hey, let's get a bunch of stuff done that I haven't been able to do. And with all the stuff going on in Chicago on the weekends, it just made perfect sense that they would pop out yesterday. So the open house that I did last night between 6 and 8 p.m., I was unsure what I was going to do. I've never done an evening open house before. This particular property is really close to a red line stop, and I know that there's a lot of foot traffic. I've lived in this particular area. I'm only a block away. I'm very familiar with it, Buena Park. So right there at the Buena Park Circle. And I just wanted to see what would happen. So we did it, we booked it, didn't realize it was a holiday. That kind of worked in my favor, I'm wondering, so I'm gonna have to try this again. But all in all, blown away. Way more open house activity than I thought I would get. In fact, I'm gonna tie this into the whole AI thing I'm gonna talk about in a minute, but I decided to create a web page and stick a QR code on my open house signs. And I was looking at the activity from people scanning the QR codes. Wow, that is something I will definitely be keeping. There will be a QR code on everything. People, they see the open house sign, they might not be looking, they might want to do something else, but it's really quick to just whip out your camera because your phone's typically in your hands already, and you just, shine it over the QR code, click the link, and boom, there you go. You can see exactly what you might want to pop in and look at or not. Either way, it's a great way to get my name in front of people. It's a great way to showcase properties, specifically if they're walking by a property and there's no open house signs, like a regular sign, and you have a QR code that they can just, easily get on their phone and just and look at the property. And you would think, oh, well, everyone's got Redfin and Zillow and Remax apps on their phones, and they could just type in the address. But the reality is that that's just too much work. That's going to take like 3 to 5 seconds. Way too much work. It's a lot easier to just literally click a button on your phone in a fraction of a second and then just click on the link and have it automatically come up to you. People love ease these days, and I'm definitely working that into the whole repertoire that I do. So I mentioned AI a little bit, and over these last probably month or so, I have been on a journey to educate myself with AI. If you know me, you would definitely know that my desire to use these programs is very little. I am fearful of the future when it comes to these types of programs and what might actually happen from them, but that's a conversation for another day. In any event, in my industry, it's changing. You would think that, being the old real estate agent who does things the old way, and you're able to generate business and it all works out fine. Things are trucking along, but I have to say, since really starting doing the coaching and the training with the AI programs, it's definitely changed my tune a little bit as far as what these things can do and how they can help support my business. And not only support my business, but that results in helping sellers and buyers who are out there, right? So these tools I'm employing not only save me time and help me be more efficient, but what they do is they help bring light to a listing that I might have that maybe is a little bit difficult to sell, or maybe it helps me get more foot traffic, or maybe it just gets more eyeballs on the property. There's a variety of things it's gonna do, but ultimately, it's been quite helpful. So one of the things I've been really trying to focus on is ChatGPT. I've been using it for quite a while, probably for over a year, thinking that all it really does is generate text, and I didn't really understand how to use ChatGPT. Now I'm getting a much better understanding of how the program works, how it trains itself, and more importantly, how I can train ChatGPT to do those things that I think are beneficial for not only my clients, but myself. In fact, I actually upgraded to the ChatGPT Plus, I think it's called, and I'm now actually paying monthly. So I've fallen right into the trap that I did not want to get into. However, I have found the value in it. We can talk about that another day, but I just wanted to bring it up that I have been using these different tools and techniques, and one of them, it didn't necessarily suggest that I should put the QR code on these open house signs. That was kind of my thought, but I did use ChatGPT to help me find the perfect web hosting platform for a website that I needed to create for a very unique property. And I was blown away at the reasoning, because I have mine set up so I can see how ChatGPT talks to itself and how it's going through the reasoning process of how it's going to search and look for what it's going to give me as a suggestion. And it was just incredible. Normally, what would have taken me days to search through, to go on Google and search, what's the best website landing platform for a building. And it would give me options, and I'd have to click on each one, and I'd have to go through their demos, and I'd have to try to figure out, which one I like, which one's gonna fit. Ultimately, those processes take forever, and a lot of times you get so overwhelmed with them, you're just like, nah, screw it, forget it, I'm done with it, I'm not gonna do it. In this particular case, blew my mind away. I asked it something very, very specific, and I think that's the thing with ChatGPT. You need to be very specific and give as much context as possible so that you can get the best response. Within less than, I'd say, 3 minutes, it gave me 4 suggestions. It broke down why each one would work the best way. I chose one of them, and literally, once I clicked the demo and I started building the website, I was done in less than an hour. I couldn't believe it. Normally what would take me days in order to figure out, the best way to do this and how to build it and get it all ready, I was done in no time at all. Blew my mind. I'll drop a link below so you can kind of see the website. Super cool. It was actually called Crib Flyer. Really enjoy this platform. I really enjoyed the ease of getting my property in there, and I love the lead generation that comes along with it. Not very expensive, so I'll drop a link to the one that I created. You can check it out if you want. If not, that's cool. But I just wanted to kind of highlight the fact that some of these programs actually are quite beneficial, and I'm starting to implement them into my business and seeing a pretty radical difference. So that was the open house, AI integration into the business. Overall, things have been just trucking right along. We're in summer mode now. The weather is definitely 70s plus. Humidity is out here. So when I was wearing my suit yesterday, ooh, let me tell you, I really wanted to keep that suit jacket on, but it was just brutal. It was brutal. But you get over it, and life moves on. That's about it for today. I have buyers coming into town this week. Yay, super excited. Love listing properties. I do tend to like buyers a little bit better just because, I don't know, one of them's from out of town, so I get to sort of be like a tour guide, and it really helps me, get my mental juices flowing about the things that would benefit, a particular person. So I'm super excited about that. I'll be on the road tomorrow. It's 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're gonna see 9 condos in 3 hours. That's a pretty standard thing for me. I call it a buffet tour. If you're starting out for the first time, usually it's not really worth going to see just one property, right? You're gonna come in, you're gonna sit down with me, we're gonna do our hour conversation, and then from there, we're gonna set up the buffet tours, and we're gonna start going out and looking at properties until there's nothing left. And then at that point, we switch over to the a la carte. And when one property comes on, it matches your criteria, we go see it. So buffet tour tomorrow morning. I have another client flying in town tonight, and they're coming to look at one specific property at in Lakeview. I don't want to say the name of it. They're looking at one property in Lakeview, and again, this is a client that's been on the road probably now for, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months. Can't even remember how long we've been out there. We did start with the buffet tour thing, and ultimately we were able to narrow down exactly what the buyer was looking for. And now we're at a point where we're just monitoring the MLS and looking for properties that come on, and as soon as they come on, we have to get in to see them. Since they're in Florida, oftentimes I'll go and I'll do videos of the property to make sure that it's something something that they even want to come see, and then usually they book flights, come up and take a look at the property. For this, it'll be called an in-town property, right? In-town is when people live somewhere else, but they want a property in Chicago so they can come here and stay whenever they want. Believe it or not, I actually have a lot of clients who have in-town properties in Chicago. Just their little pied-à-terre that they you know, come and visit and enjoy Chicago when they want to, and then they leave and go back and do the rest of their things later. All right, so we're at 10 minutes. I got to wrap this guy up here. What's going on in Chicago this weekend? You have Blues Festival, you have Grant Park Music Festival, Pride Fest, one of my favorites in Lakeview. It's a street festival, lots of shopping. I probably won't go this year. Unfortunately, I just don't have the time to do it. What else is going on? If you like the art, 57th Street has an art festival down in Hyde Park. There's the Wells Street Art Festival, and then you have the Randolph Street Market. It's like a vintage market. I actually enjoy this. I'd like to try to pop by if I could, but if not a big deal. Lastly, before I go, if you're into opera or musicals or that kind of stuff, The Prom is opening at the Woodstock Opera House. Sounds very interesting to me, but after my last Broadway show, Kimberly Akimbo, I'm a little lukewarm on these kind of things right now, and I wasn't terribly impressed. It was a good show, good actors, but ultimately it just didn't resonate with me that much. So I'll leave that at that. All right, friends, have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back next week with an update. Feel free to message me if there's any specific things that you have questions about regarding real estate, or if things that you'd love to see me cover in these videos. Not that it's difficult to come up with ideas. I'm always doing something, so I can always babble on for, what am I at, 12 minutes now? But if you have something you want me to cover, I'd be more than happy to do a video on it. So that's about it. Have a great weekend. Be safe out there, and we'll talk soon.